All right, from 4 teams down to 2 on this episode of the Kirby on Sports podcast, we recap a very exciting championship weekend and we take a brief look ahead at what is to come in the Super Bowl, but between the Chiefs and the 49ers in Las Vegas coming up in 2 weeks. And this is for all the dads, and chads. You're tuned in to episode 202 of the Kirby on Sports podcast, coming your way next. Once again, welcoming you to episode 202 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. I'm your host, Josh Kirby. As always, give us a like, comment, share, subscribe. Find us on all listening platforms, www.kirbyonsports.com. A huge thanks to our sponsors, as always, on the Kirby on Sports podcast, PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, Transformative Alignment Group, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, Barrett, Pest, and Termite Services, Shenandoah Music, Mark Lynch with Guild Mortgage, and the official energy drink of the Kirby on Sports podcast, Don't Sleep Energy. Use promo code KOS Podcast for 12% off your order every single time. We are not wasting any more time. The first member of the Kirby on Sports podcast team, the Weapon, Dan Dembski. What's going on, my friend?
I'm grieving.
Yes. My heart breaks for you. I felt really bad. I really do apologize. I'm sure we're going to get into it more.
These scars will heal eventually.
They will heal eventually. I know what you're going through, buddy. I know what you're going through. And we welcome in the winning member of the 3-man booth, the member of the Kansas City Chiefs Kingdom fandom, the Swiss Army knife, Carlos Martinez.
Kingdom fandom.
What the was that?
Fandom, kingdom, phylum, class.
Yeah, I messed it up. I'm sorry.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. That's what a good quarterback looks like, Dan. That's what a good quarterback looks like. Yes, indeed. There's this. Just gonna move some stuff around, gonna move some, just put one belt on one shoulder, put the other belt on the other shoulder for back-to-back AFC titles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, there's a lot of weight right here, a lot of gold. A Super Bowl jersey. Who 87? What? Oh man. I did not plan. Who's that over my I'm sorry, Dan. I didn't know she was creeping looking over my shoulder.
Yeah, you didn't know.
I didn't know. I'm so sorry. I did not know that this was all around me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm sorry, Dan. I had to just a little bit, but
you are the heel of the podcast.
I am the heel of the podcast, but I do genuinely, I do feel so bad. Like you saw my reaction on the group chat. I didn't brag.
No,
I can't imagine, like, because I've seen, obviously, I am a Chiefs fan, and I've seen us lose to Joe Burrow. but
Yes.
the Chiefs are not my childhood team. They're my adulthood team. So there's not as much emotionally invested in them. Obviously, when they lose, it is upsetting, but it's not the way, say, like when the Cowboys lose, right? Like that devastates me. So I can't imagine what that must feel like, to feel like it is truly your year. The stars were lined up perfectly for you. And that's the product they put out.
Mhm.
And for it
It
to
was
be
pathetic.
yeah,
was
at least on the
pathetic.
offensive side. It was truly one of the strangest games for me to watch, because I didn't know how to feel, because at the same time, like, while I'm happy the Chiefs won, I'm sad for Baltimore, because like Mahomes has his, like, we already have our Super Bowl appearances and stuff like that. And it really would have been nice to see the Ravens in the Super Bowl. But at the same time, I'm going to celebrate my win, because at least I get to celebrate my team being in the Super Bowl. But it would have been great seeing the Ravens in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was about as awful of a game as they've played in some time. I go back to some of their other playoff losses, and I know fans that go way back talk about the 2006, which is a game that I remember is when I was really started to get into football. Season against Peyton Manning, where the defense didn't surrender a single touchdown and still lost. I think it was 18-6 or something. So a lot of fans talk about that one, which is pretty awful offensive performance. But this was supposed to be the season. This was a historic dual threat offense. Maybe not historic, but definitely a dual threat offense that had taken the NFL by storm this year. And especially against Super Bowl contenders, like we talked about in the past. Like, obviously, they beat the Lions handily. They beat the 49ers handily. Those two teams obviously played respectively in the NFC Championship game. But it was a total lack of everything. I mean, they just didn't look prepared. They didn't look ready. They seemed like they weren't ready for the moment. And the Chiefs have been there and done that. And it was just felt like another game for them.
What it looked like to me was that, was there anything, like, did you want to lead into this, Kirby?
Do you want to preface this, or are we just jumping in?
Yeah,
Let's
or we
jump
just
in.
gonna we kind of just started, so I'm sorry.
Let's go.
I was just waiting. I know how sensitive this game is for one party.
It's not sensitive. It sucks, but I'll be
Upsetting.
fine. I'm a grown man. All right. I cried last night. I got over
All
it.
in all, Kirby, it's just a game of football.
It's just football.
It is the game called football.
It's not life or death out here, man.
The number 3 seeded Kansas City Chiefs
travel
up to Baltimore, Maryland, to defeat the 1 seeded Baltimore Ravens 17-10. And that's my preface.
Okay, so with that being said, yeah, it just felt like the Chiefs were in the Ravens' heads, like, in a way that, like,
yeah,
in a way of, like, just I don't know what that was.
In their heads, the entire game.
Nice Beavis and Butthead impression.
It was just it was more, but like in a way of, like, they felt like it just felt like they were pressing from the jump, and like they needed, like, just think about it. This is a football team. The Ravens are a football team that averaged 28 points a game this season.
Yep.
And it's not as if Kansas City ran away with this game. It was 17. They only scored 17 points. And it just felt like as soon as Kansas City scored on that first drive, that the Ravens started panicking. And granted, they got the touchdown following.
Answered quickly, yeah.
Yeah, and in that moment, I was like, man, it just feels like we're about to have ourselves
another
classic, another Bills Chiefs from a couple years ago, the 13-second type game. It just feels like these guys are going to go back and forth here.
Agreed.
And then Kansas City scores another touchdown. And then, like, just from there, it just felt like Lamar did not play like Lamar. Like, he just refused to go. Like, he was just holding on to that ball, gets the strip sack, of course. But like, just all game, he was just holding onto the ball and just not taking off. There were so many opportunities that I was like, Lamar, go, just like run, like use your legs. That's why most teams fear you is because of your legs. It's not necessarily because of your passing ability per se. You know, that's not to say he hasn't improved as a passer and he's not a good passer, but like, what is his?
He's not throwing 50 touchdowns a season, right? He's not.
What's his bread and butter? It's his legs. Like, but it just seemed like he wanted so hard to prove that he could win this game as a quarterback, and
and I think a lot of that,
you know, as a pocket quarterback, not. I mean, you know what I mean. Like just passing, like he didn't need to use his legs, and it's like, what was the difference between Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy in the NFC Championship game? Is when they felt it, they just went, they just take off. When their clock went off, they're gone. They're not waiting. They're not hesitating. Lamar hesitated a lot in this game, and that's ultimately on top of that, obviously the awful game plan that they had for this game.
Horrendous.
This is the league leader in rushing attempts, and to only have 8 rushes to the running backs. Dalvin Cook didn't even get 1 touch.
Yeah, you sign him for no
reason. No reason.
What was the reason?
But like, not even that. Just not even
money on nothing.
Hold on. But not even that. Not letting Gus Edwards get anything. Not letting Justice Hill do anything. It's like, what are we doing here? You guys were only targeting Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews, did you even come back? You didn't do anything. He should have just stayed out and just let Likely keep going, because it was clear Likely was still better.
Totally agree.
Odell, where did you go? Where was Odell in this game plan? Odell didn't show up until the fourth quarter.
He wasn't on the field. They had him off the field. They put Nelson Aguilar, who didn't do anything either, in his place, and it was like, you can't tell me he's a better receiver than Odell. Like, I know Odell's old and whatnot, but
no, you can't.
We're paying him so much money. We're paying him so much money, and he's standing on the sidelines. Like, yeah, it was horrendous. It's on Harbaugh and it's on Munkin, and it's.
They thought too hard on this game. They made the Chiefs bigger than what they were. And this was the biggest missed opportunity for the Ravens, because if not now, then when? Because this is a question to go across all of the AFC, because the Chiefs were the most vulnerable here. We had the most down season of down seasons that you could possibly have with Patrick Mahomes. We, aside from our stout defense, which is somehow still under the radar and very underrated, our offense just never really had it until week 17, honestly. And we simplified our offense down to just get the ball, give it to Isaiah Pacheco, get the ball to Rashee Rice, and get it to Travis Kelce. That's it. We put Sky Moore on IR. Kadarius Toney's an inactive, saying that he's not injured, but he's actually injured. And there's a whole thing going into that.
Yeah, his whole saga.
MVS gets maybe 2 targets a game, and so far has made the best out of those 2 targets.
He certainly did.
If you could not beat the Chiefs now, then when are you ever going to beat the Chiefs? Because they're just going to get better next year. Granted, we do have a lot of decisions to make on the defensive side. Chris Jones probably isn't going to come back to the Chiefs, just because cap wise, we might not be able to pay him what he's going to demand. And also, he's on the other side of 30. So like, do we really want to pay him and, risk not being able to keep some of these other guys? I mean, everything was lined up perfectly for Baltimore. You had all the injuries to Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, Josh Allen, and the Bills didn't look like themselves. The Dolphins were a bunch of pretenders, basically. And you guys came out and just like beat yourselves, really, because again, it's not like the defense came into play after the first quarter, because in that first quarter, Kansas City was doing what they wanted.
Oh, they were right down the field, and the time of possession was
lopsided. It was very lopsided. And
really, the game could have been a lot worse, but
yeah, it really should have been. But then the Chiefs started shooting themselves in the foot. Again, when in games like this, it's honestly a race to 21. If the Ravens could have scored 21 points, which ironically is how many points they left on the field with those turnovers, they would have beaten the Chiefs, because again, you really have to only just score 21 points, and you'll probably beat us because we're not scoring a lot of points. And yeah, man, I don't know. It just, this was just such a missed opportunity, and I can definitely see why it hurts a lot for the Ravens fan base, because it just, everything seemed lined up, and it felt like the organization did everything possible, at least game atmosphere wise, to make this one of the toughest environments for Kansas City to come in. And they came in and they just made it their house, basically. I mean, they scored only 17 points, but like, and then didn't score anything in the second half. They didn't really do anything in the second half, and
it didn't matter.
It didn't matter because our defense just shut it all down.
Yeah. I think in years past, obviously, I think the Ravens have had not excuses, but certainly things to fall back on. Like last year, obviously the injuries, and Lamar hasn't been healthy for 2 seasons, and blah, 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 blah. Well, this is the first year when they've had pretty much complete health, other than some, I think losing, what's his name, at the beginning of the season, Dobbins, pretty early on. Other than that, they really haven't had any major season-ending injuries that have affected them or affected their depth really at all, which has been a blessing, and certainly a big reason why they won all the games they did this year. It's not like they had rust, right? Because they just played a game the week before. Because in years past, obviously, I think back to the Titans loss in 2019, and you think back to, they'd had 3 weeks off or whatever because I don't think they had number 1 seed in that particular
No, but they had
season.
already clinched.
But they had already clinched it, so they were resting their starters. That was obviously a concern against Houston last week, but the second half proved that didn't matter, that they can turn it on when they need to
and make adjustments.
Yes, and that's
there's the key thing. Right, yeah,
they did not make a single adjustment in this game on offense. They didn't change anything. Lamar played terribly, but quite frankly, I think they set him up to fail.
They set him up to fail, but he also didn't play well. He just didn't. So it's on both. It's the whole blame is not on Lamar.
Yeah,
but he definitely deserves blame.
Yeah, I agree. And he missed a lot of easy throws, and deciding to on 3rd and 9 to throw a screen pass, it just doesn't make sense. Like you can't tell me you're dropping back and that's your first read on the play, or that's your hot read, if you will. Nothing worked. Nothing worked. And they didn't change anything. Last week against Houston, we talked about this. Coming out of the second half, they ran the football, right? Houston's run defense was suspect in that second half. That allowed them to play action pass, to do RPOs, to read option. They didn't do any of those things in this game.
I think it was like
Lamar had 1 or 2 designed runs, and that was it.
But I think
game.
Also like it was like only like I think they like I can't remember the number, but it was very small number of or it was like a large number of these plays did not involve any play action at all. It was just straight drop back. And it's like, that's not Lamar's game. That's never been Lamar's game. Let's stop trying to make Lamar what he's not. Why change? Why again? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, I don't understand this. This is the most infuriating thing about the Ravens' performance, is that, like, why did you guys change what you guys do? Like, there's a reason why. Like, why? What about Kansas City made you say, you know what? We're going to pass a majority of the time. We're not going to set up the run. We're not going to set up play action. We're not going to have any Lamar Jackson, designed runs, because we didn't watch the Buffalo Bills film in which Buffalo was pushing us around. And granted, the thing is that Mahomes was scoring quickly, but like, hey, we have one of the best defenses. So like, let's bank on that. Let's just stick to our game plan. We don't have to press here. We're at home. We're the favorites here. Let's press our advantage. They just look like a bully team, that they were able to bully every other team in the NFL except the guys who have been there and can't be bullied. And then they folded very quick. So that then they started resorting to trying to intimidate us with these dumb, dirty tactics that didn't work.
Yeah. I think that's well said. I think the emotion got to a lot of guys, and you have costly penalties. You have just dumb mistakes, and that just compounded everything else that happened in this game for the Ravens. And also the turnovers. I mean, the interception was horrendous. The fumble,
triple coverage, dude. What are we doing?
The fumble was quite simply a rookie mistake. He shouldn't have stretched out. They kind of
Great play by L'Jarius Sneed, though.
It is. He scores that touchdown, and it's a 3-point game at that point. And then we're looking at
it's a very different ball game.
Looking at 17-14 game, and the way the defense had played lights out to that point, I'm feeling pretty good. But these are the things the championship teams are able to do, right? They come through in these types of situations.
That championship DNA.
The Chiefs' offense gave you plenty of chances. Our defense played extremely well, I thought, in the second half. They got the Chiefs off the field a bunch of times. Now, the Chiefs, like you said, they did have a lot of holdings and false starts, and not a lot. I think you're in the penalties.
Well, it was only a few holding penalties, but it was just more of they managed the game better in terms of milking the clock. So even though they weren't doing anything a lot in the second half, they were taking time off.
Yeah, and that's why I think that play at the end was just
it was killer.
It was so smart though for Kansas City to take that shot in that situation, right?
Well, Andy Reid said it. Yeah, Andy Reid said it in his press conference. They knew. They didn't obviously know, but they just assumed that they're going to come with a cover zero blitz. So there's going to be something open downfield, and Patrick Mahomes is going to find it. And Mahomes is one of the best, if not the best, quarterback when it comes to being under pressure and being blitzed.
That used to be our real knife in our back, was running that cover zero blitz and just getting beat all the time.
And I get it. You guys had to sell out because we have to stop them here. Because if we don't, it's over. We have one timeout left and that's it.
But you can't sack Mahomes. I think they only sacked him once the whole game. I think
it was twice actually.
Yeah.
It was twice. But again, Mahomes doesn't make mistakes in the postseason. He takes his game to another level. And I don't know, man. It's just, you guys poked the bear before the game with the whole Justin Tucker thing. I don't know why you guys would.
We did. What did we do?
Well, Tucker was on our side.
He's been doing that.
That's what he's done for 12 years. That's what he
get
said.
out of the way. Mahomes is warming up, and they told him. Hold on. We're talking about a kicker who's kicking, but then the actual team is over there warming up. Bro, move. Get out of the way. They asked him to move. He didn't move. So then we moved his stuff out of the way. But as you can see, Mahomes didn't really care. It was Travis Kelce who moved it. So
of course it was Travis. It's always Travis Kelce. It's always Travis.
Travis is our hothead. So
yeah,
love that guy.
But he literally said he's been doing it for 12 years with no issues. So
they'll look into it. That's a situation where obviously I was on Justin Tucker's side, but there's two sides to every story. Who knows? Maybe he was supposed to vacate the area, just before the Chiefs got out there, and he didn't do it. I don't know. I don't have the whole story, and that's another thing. We don't know. But definitely look, I thought that was going to be fire for the Ravens. Look at this. He's just moving your stuff out of the way. It's
But here's the thing. Why do it felt like the Ravens had to keep trying to artificially fire themselves up for this game, and it was again with all the smack talking and all the being just overly aggressive on a lot of plays. But why? You guys, you're playing for a chance to be in the Super Bowl, and that's all. You guys they were just too amped up. The Ravens were too amped up going into this game.
They couldn't contain that energy,
and they just could not regulate their emotions the way the Chiefs know how. Because guess what? We've been here. We've done this. This isn't anything new to us. I just can't.
I think a part of it goes back to you had Ray Lewis, you had Terrell Suggs there. They probably fired the team up or tried to get them fired up, and so they want to go out there and say, "Well, I'm going to play like Ray Lewis did," or I look at Roquan Smith especially.
Roquan was the worst culprit. He was the worst culprit.
Yeah, it was
the best player who did the most was obviously Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton was incredible in this game.
He was the only guy on our side who was
again absolute stud. I love Kyle Hamilton. I loved him coming out of college, and I've loved him so far since he's been in Baltimore. What he did. He used all that emotion and energy in the right way by just making plays and just being disruptive and everywhere. There was that one Kansas City series where literally all three downs were Kyle Hamilton.
It was him.
It was all him. And I was like, oh my God, man, this dude is just absolutely incredible. He was everywhere. Roquan was the perfect example of doing it the wrong way. And we have praised Agent Zero so much. I have his freaking jersey hanging over here. Like, we have praised him so much, but man, he was an absolute hothead in this game.
Well, and you could tell he hasn't been in this situation, right?
Yeah,
again,
100%.
it goes back to what you said. Like, Kansas City knows how to handle these situations. The Ravens, I mean, they've been in the playoffs, but they haven't been this far in a long time. They don't.
They've also never had this game at home.
This group doesn't know how to handle that pressure. And I hope this game was a learning moment for all of them, because it was Roquan, the worst, the most egregious one was them trying to reset the downs where he goes offsides, but instead he just completely just trucks the lineman for no reason, bro. Like, what are you doing? That was
like, they didn't even call that offsides.
No, they called it unnecessary roughness because that's what it was. He didn't have to do that.
Yeah. No, I'm totally with you 100%. I think Ravens fans that defend that, you're ridiculous. Like, how can you defend that? You can't.
It's just like that's the thing. The narrative of this game is not even that the Chiefs won. It's just the Ravens choke job the Ravens had.
Yeah. The Ravens beat the Ravens. That's the headline for this game. They beat themselves, and they have no one to blame but themselves. And that's just the bottom line. The offense really concerns me, because the fact that, I mean, we covered it from the start. Like, you completely got away from what got you here. You're a run and gun team, essentially, is what you are, and they didn't run at all. And also, the NFL today is not really a traditional drop back league, anyways. So the fact that they try to mark like a quarterback from 15 years ago for that, just straight drop back, it doesn't work in the league nowadays anyway. So why are you doing it? I just, Munkin has to answer to that, and Harbaugh's answer after the game was, you just
Harbaugh has to answer for it because he signed off on it. Like, why would you sign off on that game plan? Why are you deviating from what makes you you? I don't understand this dumb concept. Like, why?
And the other part of it too is, hey, if it's not going well and you don't like what your offensive coordinator's doing, you know what a good head coach does? You get in their ear and you say, fix this shit now. Because you have to. Nothing worked. So John Harbaugh obviously didn't do that. I don't know why he didn't. And if he did and there was no change, then that's on the offensive coordinator. But I just don't get it. I sat there baffled. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
It truly was the most baffling offensive performance. And again, it's not as if the Ravens didn't have chances, like obviously, like we said.
Oh, they had so many opportunities.
They had so many chances, but it was just like, I mean, I don't know. They
couldn't get out of their own way.
They just couldn't get out of their own way, and then they just kept. It was just not great, but like also like again, credit to Kansas City's defense, because like we played. Another thing was like nobody was open. Like our secondary is just sticky. Like they're very sticky.
They've been good all season.
Yeah, and it's just still incredible that like all we heard obviously leading up to this game was Baltimore's defense, but nobody was talking about our defense. And I was like, it just baffled my mind how we're still so under the radar. But like we've been good all year.
And that's a whole nother thing too. Like you can't tell me that Kansas City didn't have a lot of bulletin board material. We all saw like the pregame. We all saw everybody pretty much pick the Ravens. And
aside from who picked the Chiefs?
Boomer, I think.
I think it was Boomer.
Only guy to pick the Chiefs on the CBS pregame.
But no, everybody was.
That was all week. I mean, everybody was riding with the Ravens.
That's all we heard on the Chiefs side is
this
is the most complete team we've ever seen.
Yeah.
We've never played. This is going to be the best defense Patrick Mahomes has ever played. It's Patrick Mahomes on the road again. Let's see how he does in Baltimore instead.
I was saying this too. I mean,
it's like okay, all valid points, but like. Okay, but what about us? Like we still have
been there. Yeah.
We're the defending champs.
You're not schmucks.
We still have the best quarterback in the league. Maybe he wasn't the best this season in terms of, this season, definitely, I guess you could say Lamar was for sure the best quarterback of the season. So that's why he's going to get the MVP. But we have the best quarterback of this era.
Oh, no doubt.
Right?
No question.
We have Travis Kelce playing like he did
he's healthy.
3 years ago.
Fully healthy, it seems like now.
I mean, he 11
that connection
11
connection
targets
was
and 11 catches breaks Jerry Rice's record. This is the most successful playoff football connection between Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. They are the most successful connection of all time.
And the coverage wasn't bad on a lot of those plays. It's like that's
no,
just
it wasn't.
Mahomes,
It was just they made
that's
plays.
Just Mahomes and Kelce. Yep,
they just made
that's
plays.
Their connection. That's their connection. So
it's just, I don't know, man.
There's a lot of learning here.
There's just a lot of questions. It's just the way. It feels so unfinished, and it's like really like we hyped this game up all week long. I mean, you and me, we kept saying in the group message, we're so excited. We can't wait to see this. But like, and then for it to turn out like that, where, you know, the Chiefs basically were like, they're going to beat themselves. Like, all we have to do is just not make a mistake in the second half. And we banked it on our defense, and our defense just was like, yeah, we got this. Like, don't worry about it. You guys we don't even have to score any more points.
And that's the other thing, like, the Kansas City's rush defense is probably average, right? I mean,
yes, 100%.
Maybe a little, maybe like 20.
No. We're an average run defense. Like, we are not great at stopping the run. Like, we'll eventually sell out and stop it. But like you saw against Buffalo, they were running all over us in the beginning.
That's it.
And then eventually we just said no more, and we clamped it down. And then the situation forced Josh Allen to have to pass. And again, but that's our strength is pass defense, because our secondary is so good that they build enough time for our pass rush to get to you. So like that's where we win most of the games, and that's why we forced Josh Allen into that situation. We somehow forced Lamar into that situation. It's like, why would you not do the one thing we're hoping you don't do? Why would you go away from the run game? Like, this is so frustrating.
Yeah, and you know, it ties in with the run game, but no RPOs, no read options. They didn't do anything to knock the Chiefs defense a little off balance, which I think has been key to a lot of their wins this year. They've gotten teams on their toes. They creep up in the box, and then that's when you go down the field with a pass down the seam to Mark Andrews or Isaiah Likely or whoever. They didn't do any of that. Mm-hmm. It was just stagnant. And the passing route concepts, it's like, why are we not running anything quick? It was just like, it was crazy to me.
That's another thing I noticed too. And
what we did against Houston in the second half last week it was the quick passes. It's the quick slants, the quick in routes. They didn't do any of that against Kansas City. They're running these medium routes, and I'm like,
but that's what helped you guys get down the field. That's what helped you guys get down the field on that first touchdown.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I was like, and that's why I was like, as the game went on and they weren't doing it, I was like, go back to doing that. Just go to the quick game. Get Lamar in rhythm here.
That's the biggest thing.
Because he's rattled. Just get him a few easy completions, get a couple first downs, and just get going. And they would not do that. And that's what I'm saying. They wouldn't run the ball. They wouldn't help Lamar out. They were just like, Lamar, go out there and win us this game.
Offensive line was just also awful as well.
No,
Ronnie
like
Stanley
the line actually wasn't that bad, because consider that touchdown to Zay, like they held Lamar had that thing for like 10 seconds. Like, granted, like, sure, they were bad in like critical situations, right? But that's just because the Chiefs throw these exotic blitzes, right, that are very hard to pick up. But at least for the most part of the game, Lamar had time to throw. It's just he couldn't find anybody open, and therefore would, again, our bread and butter, our secondary holds out there and gives enough time for Chris Jones and them boys to get in there. I don't know, dude. It was just, I'm not saying like they played a 10 out of 10 game, the Ravens offensive line, but I don't think they necessarily played, because I've seen a lot of people blaming the offensive line. But I don't think they played as bad of a game as some people are like making it seem.
Yeah, it seems like in the big moments that the guy who gets beat more than anybody is the highest paid guy, and he continually gets beat time and time again and gives up, a strip sack, for example. And, it just gets old. Like, you're paying these guys all this money. Why?
Yeah, but hold on. But on that strip sack, that's on Lamar for holding it too long. Like, Lamar had to know, you don't have all day. Bro, go. Like, run. Why are you still there? And why do you have the ball out here? Like, keep it in. Like,
That's always been
swipe at you. Like,
that's always been his problem.
Lamar's got a lot to
on
work
on that play specifically, he was winding up to throw when the ball was knocked out. So I don't really, it's not like him running and fumbling the ball, which he has had a problem with holding the ball out when he's run throughout his career. He's gotten better at that. But we didn't see it yesterday because they didn't run the damn ball. It's like, it's just, it was a comedy of errors.
I can feel your frustration, dude. Like, I can feel it.
And you said it. It was like they were trying to be something they weren't. They were trying to get cute. They were trying to, I think Harbaugh in a way was trying to show, look how smart I am. I can beat Andy Reid because everyone knows Andy Reid's record against his assistant coaches. He was undefeated. Like, come on, like, it's just Andy Reid is where he is for a reason. Like, come on, you're not going to outsmart him. You're not going to outcoach him. He's basically on his way to becoming Bill Belichick. Like, it's and the Ravens they were just terrible. I mean, it was a comedy of errors pretty much from start to finish in this game. And it was maddening. It was maddening. I think something's got to change. I don't know what exactly, but there's been so many playoff failures with this team under this head coach. And this is one of the most inexcusable ones because you had no excuses this time. You had no injuries.
It was all laid out perfectly for you. The Chiefs at their most vulnerable. You're at home. You got the 1 seed.
We got the 1 seed.
You got everything you wanted.
Crowd. We've got everything there. And still, just an awful, awful game. And yeah, it's I really do think it's time for something else. Something's got to give here. Because it's just the same old story.
I mean, obviously, I don't see that happening. I don't think they're going to move on from him just because, again,
they're not that kind of organization. They don't move on from coaches. I kind of put them at the same way as Pittsburgh, and I kind of compare Tomlin and Harbaugh with their lack of postseason success in recent years, anyway. But they're not a team that does that. But I do think they'll think about it this year. But I don't see any candidates out there where I'm like, we need to get him. I mean, I guess Mike Vrabel you could say, but I don't know.
Yeah, but it's just another. I mean, but look at it. I mean, are you really going to go from a? I mean, what is Harbaugh's not even a
he's a special teams guy.
He's a special teams coach. So it's like, but like so when you look at it, it's not a defensive coaches aren't the ones who are making it to the Super Bowl right now. It's offensive coaches. It's again the Andy Reids. It's
an offensive league.
It's the Shanahans. It's the, I mean, I guess you could say, I don't know what Dan Campbell's an offensive guy. So
he played offense. I don't know.
He played offense. I really don't know what Dan Campbell's specialty really is.
He's a grinder.
He's a hype man. He's a great hype man.
It's a Gruden grinder.
Yeah. Obviously we're going to talk about them here in a second, but yeah, man. I mean, but look, all in all, at least on the Chiefs for the Chiefs, what if, I mean, I'm damn proud of this team, again, just because of all the adversity that they faced this season. And our down year is still a Super Bowl year is insane. Last year was a rebuilding year. This year's a down year, and we're still in the big game. It's Patrick Mahomes is insane, man. That guy is he's different. He's just built different. And this is probably one of his greatest feats is dragging this team to the Super Bowl.
Pretty much.
And honestly, like having a chance to win it because, I mean, the 49ers defense doesn't scare me when it comes to the Chiefs. They scare me when it comes to the Cowboys because the Cowboys never play well against that defense. But the Chiefs, I mean, Steve Wilkes is just his defensive schemes don't scare me when it comes to a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. He's going to find the space.
You got to worry a bit about that front and the linebackers, but the secondary, there's nothing there that's scary at all.
Yeah. So, well, it'll be a great game. But
it's
yeah,
a long
man,
look in the mirror. It's a long look in the mirror for the Ravens, and
it just feels so.
It sucks.
Like it's just like, man, like what just happened? Like did that was it? That was really it? Like that this quote unquote rivalry deserved better than this.
Yeah, but it's not. But it's not a rivalry because a rivalry you go back and forth. It's not. It's
well,
not.
I mean, if we go by that logic, then I mean the Bills Chiefs.
That's fair.
Either, but I mean they beat us.
But at least
in the
those
regular
games
season,
are more exciting, I would say, than this one was. But
yeah, I mean this one was just more of again the Ravens just never got going. They just never got going. We've been talking a lot. Kirby hasn't said much about this game.
Yeah, have you all missed?
And
my
I didn't
voice yet?
talk about the penalty because it's kind of a moot point anyway. It doesn't really make a difference. So
Wait, which one are we talking about? It depends which one we're talking about.
The one on the pick where he got tackled, but it was a horrible throw.
Well, yeah, I mean the reason why, I mean, look, I mean, they weren't going to call it because, I mean, there's 3 guys there and the pass was super underthrown. Now had the ball been like in front of Isaiah Likely,
then maybe, yeah.
I think they do. You have to call it in that situation. But I think in that one, yeah, it was the pass was short anyways. Likely never had a shot at it, and there was 3 Chiefs in front of it. So it's like there was never a chance.
I agree with that.
I think the one that you can definitely make a case for was that OBJ one.
Yeah.
That one you can definitely make the case for because, like, yeah, I don't know why the hell we're not calling that one. Like, that was pass interference. Like, let's call it what it was. It definitely was.
Yeah. Yeah. But the Ravens were undisciplined. I mean, you talk about the roughing on Mahomes. Like, I know that one's not as bad because, like, okay, you're swinging your arms up and you hit him in the helmet. Okay.
Well, there was also the one. There was also the one where Clowney hits him.
Late and helmet to helmet. Yeah.
It wasn't because it was late. It was because of the helmet to helmet.
Right.
They've been calling that all year. Any contact with the helmet. Like at the helmet,
kind of surprised it wasn't. It couldn't look like it could have been targeting. Honestly, I guess
no. I don't think it was targeting. It definitely looked like he just led with his head first, like his head made contact first. That's it. Yeah. It didn't look like anything malicious to me.
I agree with that. Yeah, they were just undisciplined, quite frankly, and
they were undisciplined. They were too amped up, and
they couldn't control themselves. Yeah.
And they let the Chiefs get in their head. I mean, Travis Kelce drew so much. I mean. The Kyle Van Noy one is just, you can't do. I understand Travis and Kyle don't like each other. They have some sort of beef. Apparently, they got into a fight at one point. I don't remember this
in the game, or was this before?
Yeah, I don't know if it was in the game. I can't remember. I just know that they don't like each other because there was one. It was before Kyle signed with the Ravens, and this was like before, like, I think this was around the time that the whole Taylor Swift stuff was starting, and Travis came on to the Pat McAfee show, and Kyle Van Noy would come on for like an hour-ish, right? Like in studio or whatever. And like they like mentioned it like afterwards, that because like Kyle Van Noy didn't say anything while Travis was on. And then like after Travis got off, like then Pat mentioned something about them not liking each other, like something had happened before where they just don't like each other. So, yeah. But like dude, like you keep like especially for Kyle, yourself. Like Kyle, you've been there, like you've been on successful Patriots teams, like
yep.
You can't do that, like you can't do that.
Yeah, it was a comedy of errors, and it's going to be a long off season to think hard about
what could have been, man. What could have been,
and a lot of guys going to be free agents. I think they'll be back, but like you said, Carlos, the AFC is a juggernaut. I mean, you got. We expect the Chargers to be competitive again. Now,
we'll see, man. They got some cap issues coming up.
No excuses for Justin Herbert anymore, right?
No, now you got Jim Harbaugh, the quarterback whisperer.
You've got no excuses, so I don't want to hear anybody.
They are still in the Chiefs division, and Andy Reid ain't going nowhere.
That's right. He's not. He shouldn't. Why would he retire? He's got no reason.
I don't know. There's a theory that
I saw there was a rumor.
Yeah, that he might just retire and let Vrabel take
Vrabel.
over.
It was that was
because Vrabel used to be a Chief.
That's right.
And he won a Super Bowl with us.
That's right.
I think you all hit it on the hit the nail to the head.
Well, we didn't even finish like going off of why the AFC is a juggernaut. Like, yeah, you got Justin Herbert, you got Joe Burrow coming back.
Yep.
Obviously, there's still Josh Allen out there. I mean, I don't know. We'll see about Deshaun Watson.
Tua maybe.
I mean, if they can play Miami, yeah,
if they can play every game at home, they'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Who else is there? I think that's it. I know we're leaving somebody out.
Oh, maybe Trevor.
Yeah, Lawrence? I was going to say a healthy Trevor Lawrence and
CJ Stroud up and coming.
Yeah,
CJ
Stroud.
That's a good conference, man. A lot of
there's a lot in the AFC. Then the NFC's just like, hello,
old heads.
Who's there? Heads. Oh, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant,
and Brock Purdy,
Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
In general, I think you.
Oh,
all
Aaron
pretty
Rodgers
much-
is going to come back next year.
Well, Aaron Rodgers.
See how long that lasts.
Yeah, but I think you all said everything pretty much perfectly. Yes, I am still the host of this podcast, but we had a Ravens and a Chiefs supporter here, so
Are you though?
well, you know, I
His
had
name's
to.
still on it.
I had to let you all-
not unfortunately. Not unfortunately. I thought about it. I didn't say it. You're welcome.
Anyways, go on.
Sorry. Go ahead.
But anyways, I mean, just a very, very confusing game for me. Just watching what Baltimore was doing based off what they have been doing all season long. That just really confused me.
They wet the bed.
Absolutely. But I will say this is just a small boulder in the Ravens' way. I guarantee you.
Wait, whoa. The Chiefs are not a small boulder, my boy. We're going to be here all the time.
Nobody can beat the Chiefs.
This loss.
That's not true. Joe Burrow's done it, so.
This loss is a small boulder in the Ravens' way. The Ravens, I guarantee you, will be back in the playoffs, making another deep run soon. I'm not saying about the Ravens.
My dude, I don't
prediction.
Like, I'm not saying that like I do think that the Ravens will be back, but for you to be like, this is a small boulder, this is not a small boulder in their story at all. This is a big thing that they're gonna have to get over, because guess what? Lamar Jackson's about to win 2 MVPs. And he's going to be the only quarterback thus far who has 2 MVPs and not have a Super Bowl.
And also, the Lamar haters, it was one game. You need to shut.
I'm sorry, no, but at the same time, are they not validated here? Because I mean, we are a very pro Lamar podcast here. Okay, we all know this kid is freaking special. Okay, but for the Lamar haters, they have the right to hate on this guy, because guess what? He has not shown up in the biggest games. He's great in the regular season, and then he played one good half against the Texans. Other than that, he has been terrible in the playoffs. So you can't be like, Lamar haters, this is just one game. This is not one game. This is a history. This is a pattern. He has not played well aside from the second half of the Texans. And that's why I wanted so badly for him to win this game, even if it was at the cost of my team, because I wanted him to shut up the haters. But guess what? He couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
I mean, I agree with where you're looking from.
Numbers don't lie. There's no question. And this was a certainly abysmal performance. If they go out and it's 24-20 or 24-21, whatever.
Let's say they lost, but they lost the way the Bills lost. In the 13-second game.
That's respectable.
Then we'd be like, they just got it's just Patrick Mahomes and the Magic. That's it.
This was bad.
He
was
played
really bad.
But Lamar played fantastic.
Yeah.
He gave everything he could. It's just they just came up short, but they will be back. But this was on them. This was Lamar not playing well.
Yeah. Yeah. And
and the team and the whole offense as a whole didn't play well, but
Yeah, Monken's got to figure something out, because they didn't help him either. I mean, they kind of hung him out to dry, and he definitely was dry by the end of that game. It was he got dried out. But yeah, it's going to be a long season hearing he can't throw, though. It's going to be a long off season hearing that over and over and over. He's a running back, blah blah blah, which is ridiculous. Everybody knows.
Until Lamar wins that Super Bowl,
that's all they're going to hear. Well, those people are going to.
Haters are always going to hate on him, and again, rightfully so. It's kind of like the naysayers on the Cowboys. Until the Cowboys make it to the Super Bowl, nobody should ever trust the Cowboys.
It's fair. It's a fair point.
That is true.
I will say it took Peyton Manning a long time to win, though. It took him a long time.
It did. So again, and a lot of people keep bringing up that comparison. Like, is this not the Peyton Manning argument where he's having these MVP years, but he's not getting over the hump? Yes, it is. But Peyton was number 2. We don't know who number 2 is to Patrick's number 1,
It's just because no one else seems close. That's what it is. I mean, it's hard to find that number 2 right now.
Yeah.
He's 1 and 2. Why not? And then we can do 3 on.
He might be 3 and 4 too. I mean, I don't really see anybody that close to him.
Yeah. I would agree.
So I will throw out one a question on top of this. Dan, your father got a steal on a ticket to the game. Do you have any word from him how that experience was? Playoff game, M&T Bank, I'm sure was electrifying.
Well, the game was, you know how the game was. But
No, the experience before the game, obviously.
I didn't. We honestly didn't talk about that. We were talking about the game last.
Why
night,
would
so
they talk? Why would we talk about all?
Hey,
all the
Dad, how was
playoff
your game
atmospheres?
day
Like,
experience?
They got their butts like not
Whipped.
handed to them, but
But they got whipped from the start. So yeah, we didn't have anything to say about that. I'll report back to you later on this week. How about that?
Probably not.
Probably not.
But regardless, that was a great seat for the price he paid.
Yes.
Oh my God.
We will not disclose that on this podcast. It's a financial thing, so do not disclose it. Thank you.
Did I?
No, he's saying don't.
Yeah.
Some people don't listen
There
on
you
this
go.
podcast,
God, man.
and it's the host. It's the CEO. Come on.
I'm just saying.
All right. Well, okay, we can move off this topic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can talk
we
about
can
49ers
move
and
off.
Lynch.
We cleared the air as the
no-
Ravens fell to the Chiefs. I didn't know how this was going to go, but it was great discussion, boys, for sure.
It's not Stephen A. Smith out here. Come on. I mean, we're not going to yell.
It's championship Sunday. It was electrifying. And, with electrifying, a lot of energy, don't sleep energy. Get your cases today. Use promo code KOS podcast. We're taking an extended break. And when we come back, we touch on the NFC championship game as episode 202 of the Kirby on Sports podcast rolls on. For sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals, when you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com.
Hey, Kirby on Sports Podcast listeners, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate here. It may seem scary or daunting at first to think about buying or selling a home. Well, look no further. Give me a call, 540-247-1527. There's nothing more than I love to do than help my friends make those transactions fun, interesting, and at the end of the day, productive. Look me up online, iconsales.com, and even better, find me on my podcast, Iconic Talk, with my co-host Megan Eanes on any podcast platform. We will share all the local news about real estate markets and our local community. It's educational. Look us up. We'd love to help you. Iconsales.com, 540-247-1527.
Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Once again, that's www.shenandoahprimitives.com. All right, we welcome you back to episode 202 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. Thanks for sticking with us as Championship Sunday rolls on has concluded, and we're recapping the NFC Championship game. Yes, I will have more to say on this game as the San Francisco 49ers rally from 17 points down to defeat the Detroit Lions 34-31 to claim the NFC title and make their way to the Super Bowl in 2 weeks in Las Vegas. And Carlos, you said it perfectly. The Lions shouldn't botch this game.
I said this in the group chat.
Yeah, you said it in the group chat. The Lions have no reason to lose this game, and they lost this game. And I will tell you why they lost this game. Because you leave points on the board. You leave points on the board. You go for it on 4th down. I'm not going for it on 4th down in the NFC Championship game, even if I'm playing Madden. It's plain and simple, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going for it on 4th down. Kick the field goal. Take the points. I love the aggressiveness, but it's going a little bit too far. I picked the Lions to win, and that obviously just blew up in smoke in the second
0 for 2,
half.
baby. Our resident loser. 0 for 2. Let's go.
Yeah, but I mean, the first half, that's why you play 2 halves, as Dan said before we started the show. That's why you play 2 halves. The Lions looked absolutely dominant. San Francisco's defense absolutely had no answer.
They were on skates.
For Detroit.
They were on skates. Yeah.
And the second half, some stuff goes San Francisco's way.
Hold on. I just want to correct you here. I do want to correct you here.
What?
It was the third quarter. It was just the third quarter that the Lions completely botched.
Collapse. Yeah.
It was the collapse was just in the third quarter. Had you taken that third quarter out and replaced it with how the game was actually going, they would have won the game. But the third quarter, they completely botched it.
I mean, this is probably just crushing for the Lions fan base. And the comments Dan Campbell said afterwards, it's going to be twice as hard to get back here and stuff. That's true, but I mean,
you shouldn't say that after that kind of game.
Yeah, I'm like,
but I mean, look, but that's one thing I can appreciate about Dan Campbell, though, is he kept it real. He told his team, he was like, "Hey, this might have been our only shot." Now he doesn't believe it is their only shot, but he knows how hard it is to get into this position. Well, and like you said, they were an under the radar team this year. They were not. I mean, nobody thought that they were going to make it here, but now they're going to have a target on their back. Now everybody knows who the Detroit Lions are. And it's going to be much harder for them to get back here. So he's not wrong. I see no lies in what he's saying. And I actually don't mind him keeping it real.
Yeah, but I don't know. It just feels like after an emotional loss like that, it's just an odd thing to say. No, I mean, it's obviously correct, right? Like we all know, just to get in the conference title game is hard enough. But to get
unless
back
you're the
there,
Chiefs. We decided to take the Arrowhead Invitational on the road.
Okay, Carlos, your segment's done now. So
I forgot to throw that in there. I had to throw it in there.
Oh boy.
Anyways, go on.
But yeah, it's for 99% of NFL teams, it's hard to get to the conference championship more than once, and especially in back-to-back seasons. So it's definitely true. Especially, I think, because the NFC is going to be better as well. You would think, you would hope at least.
Well, just his own division is going to be tougher. I mean, we got the rise of Jordan Love. We'll see what Chicago does with whatever they're going to do. They've
Vikings got some work to do.
The Vikings, who knows what the Vikings are going to do? But I mean, they're still there.
Vikings are a pretty good team. Yeah, if they can stay healthy, but they haven't been able to, so it's been their problem. But
yeah, this might have been. I mean, in all honesty, this was their best chance.
Close the door. Yeah, could be.
This was just a great story for the Detroit Lions. When Dan Campbell comes in, he makes that fiery press conference. They go 3-13-1, I believe. I might be wrong on that. Then 9-8, and then you're in the NFC Championship game. That's just showing you how much change he has brought to this Lions team.
But similar to the Ravens, they looked like you could tell they hadn't been in that situation. They weren't used to the conference championship game.
The moment it got too big.
Yeah, just like it did with the Ravens. Same thing happened to the Lions.
Because so like I think it's a little different in the Lions case because for the Ravens, they never even had the lead, right?
Yeah.
But for the Lions, they were like, hey, we're not even supposed to be here. So
they
let's
just fired right out of the
House
gate.
money.
So they
House
come
money.
out, hold on. So they come out and play loose, right? But then they go into halftime and they're like, oh my God, like we're actually like beating this team and we're beating them bad. And they tensed up in the third quarter and they made very critical mistakes and let the 49ers back in. And that's where, and then of course they were able to sort of recover and like come back to their senses. But by this point, the momentum had swung. So the 49ers were just going to be unstoppable at this point. But yeah, that's what it felt like to me. The moment just the reality hit them, like, oh my God, we're actually winning this game. Like, and they started looking ahead instead of just focusing on where they are.
It was a snowball effect, right? You had one mistake leading to the other, and then all of a sudden,
San Francisco tied it up in the third quarter.
The 49ers have historically been a franchise that has been in a lot of these types of games. So,
granted, it was some miracle plays that happened. That Brandon Ayuk play that's not the norm. That was just an incredible lucky play.
Or the across the body pass to George Kittle,
which is not something you're always taught not to do. Brock Purdy did not necessarily play well in this game, but at least definitely in the first half he did not play well. But in that second half, again, that he did what we wanted Lamar to do. Yep. Like he would just take off and go. He just made plays, and that's all that mattered. He improvised, and that's very that was impressive to me.
Yeah, I think I didn't know if Kirby was going to talk or me or
I was waiting for you. I thought you were about to say something.
Death stare, but no, I think you guys said it well. And Carlos nailed it. Like the Lions were just the moment was too big for them, and the Niners they never got too high. I think emotionally, and it showed. I mean, they were able to take advantage of the Lions' mistakes, and before you know it, they had the chokehold and the finishing move put on the Detroit Lions. But it was, it's certainly going to be tough for Detroit's way back. As we see, that's how we started the segment. It's going to be tough in their own division, and maybe Dan Campbell. He's definitely got a good point. It just seems like an odd thing to say after the game. It's also odd for him to say that he doesn't regret going for it. That's how he coaches, which again, it's a new era of coaches.
That's what he's done. Also, they won 5 games, with those types of aggressive decisions. So, I have no doubt he doesn't regret it. But again, hindsight is 20/20.
Just after playoff loss, it just seems like an odd thing to say.
Well,
to me, don't go for it when you're on the 2-yard line, but you decide to go for it on like 4th and 6 and 4th and 8.
What was the 2-yard line one?
Well, before halftime, they decided to go for the field goal. It was like a chip shot.
Okay,
and they were thinking about going for it.
But why?
But that was smart. You take the point.
That was smart, Kirby. Like, the fuck are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about if you're going to be that aggressive, why do you go for the field goal there and not the?
Because at that point there was I think they didn't even have any timeouts left, so it's like. It just didn't make feasible sense there.
That's right.
Shut that. You see, this is why you don't coach.
Yeah. That's why I'm sitting here in this lovely Studio K with my microphone and not coaching.
It's been a long time since you've heard good old Studio K.
Anyways.
Studio K in an undisclosed location.
Shush, please.
Steven City, Virginia. What?
Who said that?
You said that.
I'll give you the address.
But it just pained me to see how the Lions lost because of
you can't give the Niners those chances though too. It's just
they'll take advantage with all.
They had the Niners on the ropes, like they had them on the ropes, and then the fumble happened, and it was kind of the same thing with and this is where I think there was a similarities with the Ravens is they had the fumble, and then they only ran the ball 8 more times after that.
Yeah,
like you guys were dicing them all game.
Yep, all game.
And then they got scared because of the fumble. And not a great ending for them. But I mean, they fought back. But all in all, like what was the main thing? I mean, had they scored those 2 field goals and say they would have scored that touchdown,
Difference in the game.
I mean, that's literally the difference. That was a 6-point swing, and that would have put them over the top over the 49ers. So the thing is, to me, is like, for me in the championship game, at least at that point, when you're up by that much, is you have to keep the pressure on the other team. So granted, yeah, you want touchdowns over field goals, but like,
but you're
at least you're extending
smart.
your league lead, and you're
smart.
putting yourself in better position.
Yeah, you take the points in that situation. It's one thing if you're down, like, and a field goal doesn't help you, right? Like that's a different animal altogether. Or you're trying to put the game away.
They were in positions hey, okay, they just scored a touchdown, but if we put a field goal here, it still puts us ahead.
It puts the pressure, and it puts pressure back on the
No, I'm sorry. The 49ers scored a field goal, and then had they gone for the field goal, it would have just put it back to a 17-point lead.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing, is like, it's just, sometimes it's just smarter to take those plays, especially.
Agreed. Especially in this situation,
and the NFC title game, yeah, right?
And again, what's the name of the game here? It's all in all. It's score points. Like, you got to score points. Don't leave
chase
points on the field.
Yeah, exactly.
And I understand they were trying to go for the kill shot, but bless you. But yeah,
I muted that.
Oh, but I can. I see you.
We both have eyes. Yeah.
I was just making sure.
Yeah, but yeah, no. All in all, again, hindsight's 2020. Bad calls. I understand why they went for it. They wanted to go for the kill shot and really, and just kill the momentum. But at a certain point, you got to also be like, okay, what's the smarter choice here? Let's just go for the field goal. I understand we've been known to do this. This has been our identity, but like,
regular season is different, though.
Super Bowl, like, there is no tomorrow here. Like, the Super Bowl is on the line. Like, let's do what we can to keep it alive.
Totally agree. I couldn't have said it better myself, because you said it. So,
but also again, but those 4th down. I mean, those, I don't put any of that on Jared Goff. That Reynolds has to catch those passes.
Yeah.
Those were right there.
Oh man,
Josh Reynolds.
Those caught power. I knew I was forgetting something. Right there.
Right in his hands. Yep.
Just
the Lions
drops, man.
It amazed me. I don't get it.
Lions just weren't ready for that moment.
Just a case of the drops. It happens.
So that's it.
With that, the Lions fall to the 49ers. It was a great game. Explosiveness by the Lions, and then obviously the 49ers come back to win it. But what a great game. In the end, the 49ers come out with the victory, but it was a classic. I'll say. I think that goes down as one of the classics.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
really?
It's not classic.
So. No. It's not one of the best NFC title games I've ever seen.
Lions got sort of a garbage time score, sort of.
Yeah.
To make it look more respectable, but the Niners dominated in the third quarter of that game for sure.
Yeah, 100. I mean, again, by the end of the third quarter, it was already tied. It was like, oh my god,
what happened?
They went from 24-7 to 27 or 24-24 in one quarter.
Totally nuts.
But to me, this is not one of the greatest. Like, when I think of classics, I think of Seattle
Niners.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I think games like that. I think Seattle, Green Bay. When Seattle made that miraculous win at the end. I think of what's another good one?
Well, Kansas City, Buffalo.
I think no. I'm talking about NFC Championship.
Oh,
games.
NFC.
Yeah. I'm thinking. Green Bay versus New York in 2007.
That was a great one.
Yeah, when they were in freezing cold temperatures. Tom Coughlin's face is just heat red. Those are games I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about this game. Isn't this game? I think the only obviously memorable thing is that the Lions were in it.
Yeah. I think a lot of Lions fans are going to reflect and see this as a building block for the future that is to come with the Detroit Lions, in my mind.
Well, they're used to it, right? I mean, they've had so many years of losing, right?
Well,
I mean,
losing seasons,
30 years.
I mean, but when you really think about it, this was the greatest Detroit Lions season of all time. It really was.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
And that's kind of the sad thing about it, is that their greatest season was them completely choking away the game.
Internal combustion, yeah. So,
yeah.
Well, with that, the Super Bowl is set. We take another quick break, and we're back with more right after this.
Bedbugs. The only thing creepier than thinking about them is actually having them. Trust me, you don't want to have them. Locally owned and operated Barrett Pest and Termite Services can keep you from having bedbug nightmares and infestations. Call 540-340-3922 to schedule your free inspection and consultation. If bedbugs are already in your home, we'll get rid of them so you can rest easy. We also specialize in keeping homes and businesses free of other pests, including rodents and termites. That's Barrett Pest and Termite Services, 540-340-3922.
Hi, this is Mark Peter Lynch with Guild Mortgage. One of the greatest joys in doing business over the last 30 years in the Shenandoah Valley is helping people buy their first home. Buying their first home and putting the keys in their hand at the closing table has brought me so much joy. If you want to buy your first home, a second home, or an investment property, or build wealth through investment in real estate, give me a call. My phone number is 540-664-4700, or you can find me on the World Wide Web at www.marksmortgage.com.
Welcome back to the Kirby on Sports podcast. Cannot forget about our other sponsor, Shenandoah Music. They are your local music superstore. Check them out. Shenandoah Music Inc. across from B-Dubs in Winchester. Thanks so much to Shenandoah Music once again. Gentlemen, it is that time. The Super Bowl is in 2 weeks. It is set, and that means 2 more weeks before we cry and hurl up because there's no more football.
Maybe for you guys, but I still have a dog in this fight, so we'll see.
Yeah, but it's going to be.
All right, pull up the damn graphic. Jesus, you're taking forever.
Oh, we're pulling. Are we previewing this or just pulling it up?
Just pull up the graphic and I'll.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. With that, championship weekend is done. And we are down to the wire again. Okay, so just for preference, for the podcast listeners, we have the graphic up that we always have for the pick'ems, but there are no picks. But why? Because live from Anthony's Pizza on Sunday, February 11th, correct? February 11th, the 3-man booth plus our resident Super Bowl contributor, Tyler, will be coming to you live for the Super Bowl pregame show. Boom. And that is where we will reveal our picks. So for now, we're just giving you a quick little update on what is going on. Obviously, everybody already knows Kirby's mathematically eliminated. He is in last place no matter what. 68-52. He went 0-2 for the week. And of course, I gave you guys your playoff records as well. Kirby is 8-4 in the playoffs. He came into the championship round at 8-2, and he was in first place, and then had an epic collapse. Me and Dan are now tied. So for the second year in a row, it is coming down to the Super Bowl once again. So we are both tied at 80-40. Welcome to the 80 Club, Dan. We have been on fire this year. Yes, we have done very well.
We're doing really well.
And yeah, so it's going to come down to the Super Bowl to see who wins, whether I retain my title as Pick'em's champion or if Dan reclaims the title as Pick'em's champion. But once again, it's between the two of us. So yeah, our Super Bowl picks will be made on the live pregame show. I mean, I think everybody already knows that who I'm going to pick because I'm contractually obligated to, but it'll be interesting.
What happens if, hypothetically, if I also pick that said team? What happens if we finish with the same record?
We did run into this last year but last year, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's just something we're going to have to discuss.
Yeah.
We can reveal. It also depends if you do hypothetically pick the Chiefs.
It's
make the score the tiebreaker.
Yeah, but then
But
is it
who's
who
gonna-
gets us the
who's
score
the
closer? Like,
Probably
or
has
did they have to get
Closest, I would say. Not
Okay.
that I have a dog in the fight, but still, yeah, that's what I would recommend.
Kirby, you haven't had a dog in the fight for like 8 weeks. It's okay.
For all 3 years,
Why
you haven't
you
had a
can
dog in
take
the
my
fight. bro.
opinion or leave it, Dan. I'm just throwing something out there, buddy.
No, I'm just giving you a hard time. Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
You're a resident loser over there. It's okay. Good old cream cheese.
Well, no, seriously. If you pick the closest score,
Picking the score.
or
sure.
the spread, or some betting prop,
The color of the Gatorade. Whoever gets the color of the Gatorade. Right.
What if none of us get it right?
Exactly.
I don't know.
We can talk
because
about
you
it off
can't
air.
force Dan to pick the opposing team.
I mean, but I'm forced to pick the Chiefs. So, like,
Oh
I'm
my
kinda-
gosh, you revealed your pick.
I mean,
I mean, he already said. He's
I'm
contractually
contractually obligated to pick the Chiefs. So
We've had this discussion every week. We always have to pick our teams, regardless.
Yeah.
So,
But that's what I suggested. But
I don't know. I can't think of anything. So
I have to pick the other team. That's fine. I mean, that's fine.
I mean, it would. I mean, it's what we
makes
did
it
last
easier.
year. It's what we did
Yeah.
last year. You picked the Eagles. I picked the Chiefs.
Yeah.
It makes it easier. So and Kirby kind of already sent me his pick like a dum.
yeah,
I don't.
yeah, I did.
Kirby, we have 2 weeks. We're not revealing it until the pregame show. I don't need this right now. So I'm going to give you some time to think on that, on whether you want to keep that or not. I'm not going to lie. His score prediction was kind of out there. I'm not going to lie to you. It was out
That sounds about right. I'd expect nothing less.
nothing less than a resident loser.
Cream cheese.
Cream cheese.
Yes, sir. And with that, our picks will be made at the Super Bowl pregame show live.
I just
from
can't believe
Anthony's
it's really
Pizza.
coming down to me and Dan at the finish again.
No,
And tied
absolutely.
again. How the hell,
Yeah.
man?
We went
And-
all season
Crazy.
this time.
With that, we will announce everything coming up, live stream, so on and so forth. But before we wrap things up, gentlemen, a really quick preview of the Super Bowl. What are your initial thoughts?
I'm gonna be honest, dude, because for full transparency, we're recording this on a Monday. I have not had time to think about the Super Bowl yet, so I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting game, but I know one thing: Brock Purdy better not get down on us because we're not gonna make the same mistakes that the Packers and the Lions made. So he better come out on his A game because we'll make him pay for those mistakes. Not like the inexperience of the Packers and the Lions. The Chiefs know what they're doing to win this game.
Dan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's tough because I think the Niners they have a ton of offensive weapons, so I think the Chiefs haven't really faced an offense quite as good as the 49ers. But I also think that, like Carlos said a long time ago, that people have been sleeping on the Chiefs' defense. So all it takes is a mistake or two, and Brock Purdy hasn't been in the situation before Patrick Mahomes has. So it's gonna be a great game, but you got one team that's been there a bunch, one team that has been there, 4 years ago. It's gonna be a lot of fun, I think. I know I said yesterday I was gonna boycott the Super Bowl. I was just pissed off and all that stuff. So
Yeah, nobody's gonna boycott it. This is gonna be probably one of the most viewed Super Bowls because the question will be: is she gonna make it to the game?
Yeah.
Will she be there? It's gonna be very dicey, but she can make it.
She's got her own private jet, man. Anything's possible.
Well, it's just again, she's
all
playing in
about
Tokyo
time.
the night before.
Oh,
But she can make it. Get everything that I've seen, she can
Getting that
make it.
jet stream.
But she has to leave as soon as the concert's over, and I think she will. I don't think there's any chance she's missing the Super Bowl.
No, of course not. Of course not.
Yeah.
And people want to see her, and that's why I think it'll be one of the most watched.
Oh, it's going to be one of the
Super
highest
Bowls.
rated because of her, because she's gotten so many Swifties so invested in football now.
right.
If she makes it to the Super Bowl, I wonder how nice the suite's going to be since it's the
Okay.
Super Bowl.
It's Vegas. It's the Allegiant Stadium. It's
It's
going to
like
be
the newest
nice. It's
stadium.
brand
Yeah, it's the
new.
newest
The hell are
stadium.
you talking?
That's going to be fun too in Vegas at Allegiant Stadium.
I don't.
Is that your thought for the Super Bowl, Kirby?
Now, my thought, since it is my turn, look at Detroit. Look at that first half.
It doesn't matter what that
what
loser
you-
thinks, okay? We don't care. I'm sorry, Kirby. I had to do it. Go on. I'm
I
sorry.
swear.
I'm sorry.
Had
I'm so
to
sorry.
had
I'm
to
so
pull the
sorry.
heel move.
I had to do
Have
it. I had to do it. I had
Yeah.
to do it. I'm
It
so
was no
sorry.
taking.
Look at the Lions and look what they were able to do in the first half against the 49ers. Look at the 49ers defense. That defense has got to do something.
I
Because
agree.
if the Chiefs, we all know the Chiefs and Mahomes, what he can do with Travis Kelce and those other weapons on the field. That defense does not improve. They get out to a big lead, and the Chiefs' defense, too, might be a long night for the San Francisco 49ers.
I don't disagree. I do not disagree.
It might be a very long night for the San Francisco 49ers.
I think the only way the 49ers win this game is it's I think the only condition is it's a close game. I don't think the 49ers could blow the Chiefs out. On the flip side, I think the Chiefs could blow the Niners out potentially. But
It's
we'll see what
going to be very interesting indeed. We are in discussion. We will be in discussion on if we do a full Super Bowl breakdown show next week. We will keep you posted on our social media platforms. We will keep you updated with the additional programming times, notices, etc., etc. So keep it posted on the Kirby on Sports podcast social media platforms, and you can find us on all streaming platforms as well in www.kirbyonsports.com. Just make sure you subscribe, give us a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcasts as well. Thanks, as always, to our sponsors, PM Plus Reserve, Shenandoah Primitives, Transformative Alignment Group, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, Barrett, Pest, and Termite Services, Shenandoah Music, Mark Lynch with Guild Mortgage, and the official energy drink of the Kirby on Sports podcast, Don't Sleep Energy. Use promo code KOS Podcast for 12% off your order every single time. Dan Dembski, Carlos, as always, really appreciate your time. It was a lot of fun and ready to ride with you guys to the Super Bowl.
How about them Chiefs?
Just
Let's
end it.
go.
Just end it. We're going to end it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in. And I must give you one key piece of information before I let you go.
Oh, here we go.
The Super Bowl between the Chiefs and the 49ers, Taylor Swift will be in attendance. It's her first Super Bowl before Dak Prescott.